Right, welcome everybody back from lunch. That's great. And welcome to the Canonical virtual release party. It may be virtual, but we've got 6 warm bodies right here, and number 7 will come up on screen. Yeah, we're going to have canonical people telling us canonical things. So I'm going to hand the mic over. Okay, Aleix denies it. I'm going to hand the mic over to Heather, to Monica, who is the boss.
Tell that to my bosses so I can get a raise. Okay, thanks. Hi. So anyway, this is actually only for those of you who are watching this on our YouTube stream now, or you are watching it on the LAS channel. Thank you. This is April 29th, the first day of LAS 2022. We are very happy to all be here, and we're also very happy for all of you who are joining us, either watching this the day of or watching this afterwards. So yeah, about a week and a half, we just came out with a new LTS 2204. And the first person is, I think we have a lot of people here we'd like to talk to, but as you can see on the screen, we have our desktop project manager, Ollie Smith. Hi, Ollie.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yay! Technology is amazing. So we thought we would talk to you first. What are some of the awesome new things in 2204 that people should be excited about?
Cool. Well, there's so many. Obviously, I think I'll have to have a think about what to call out. But it's great to be here, and I'm very jealous that I am on my own in Cambridge and not with you folks over there. So maybe next time I'll be able to join. For 2204, yes. So I think this is maybe I'm a little biased. I think it's our best release yet. I think the big juicy things for me are GNOME 42. Obviously, I think having all the fantastic new interface, our lovely horizontal workspaces, all those that fantastic screenshot tool that I use every day for various different purposes is getting lots of heavy use. But I think really the real standout one for me is performance. I think there's a really strong performance story here for 2204. We've done this great work on triple buffering with the GNOME team. I think that makes the desktop super snappy. And I think one of the really exciting things is how that affects low-end devices in particular. The Raspberry Pi, we've done loads of work on some optimizations to make the Raspberry Pi experience snappier and smoother. So not just the GNOME work, but also some special work that we've done in terms of swap and Z-swap to make navigating your desktop on even the 2 gig Raspberry Pi a really solid experience. So I really recommend checking out 2204 on the Raspberry Pi. And the Raspberry Pi story is really great as well, because we've also got support for Ubuntu Server and Ubuntu Core for the Raspberry Pi 02W. So you've got this great sort of IoT development workflow there, which I think is super exciting for hobbyists and some more production-heavy use cases as well. So that's another really exciting thing. I love the new customization options. It's great that we got so many community wallpapers in this time. That's fantastic. It's great to have the accent color picker that I think means that we give our LTS users some more tools to tweak and customize their desktop. Yeah, I think I've hit most of the things, right? We've got all the usual up-to-date apps, and yeah, that's about it. I think Ubuntu on WSL is also looking really cool if you're a desktop developer who's still using Windows. We've got a fantastic new out-of-the-box sort of installation experience that's more in line with the Ubuntu desktop installation experience. So you really feel like you're joining the Ubuntu world whenever you boot it up on WSL as well. So I'm also excited about that. Again, I'm a little biased, but yeah, I think those are my big highlights. Back to you, Monica. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I just have one question. You were talking about all the awesome things on the Raspberry Pi, and this is the first LTS made for the Pi. Could you
Yes,
maybe,
yeah.
and since we know, well, those of us who work with you know that you live near the Raspberry Pi store in Cambridge, think you could get over there and get us some pies? Because those would be nice to have to test all this stuff on.
When the Raspberry Pi 02W came out, I literally got on my bike, as everyone in Cambridge has to do, and cycled right down on the day of release, and got myself a cheeky 2 or maybe even 3 Raspberry Pi 02W. So that was good. But yes, well, so we had LTS support for Ubuntu Server previously with 2004, but we didn't introduce the desktop support until 2010. So it's great now that you've got that sort of long-term stable release for desktop as well. So it's really the first time we've had all the versions of Ubuntu supporting the Raspberry Pi in that LTS form with that 5+ years of support.
Yeah. Well, Ollie, thank you so much. We wish you could be here. I know a couple of us will see you next week in Denmark. And anyway, but thank you for hopping in, and thank you for telling us about what's new and what's exciting. And I'm excited to start the cycle, and especially with the next interim one, to start seeing some kind of like leading edge things.
Yeah, so the interim one is going to be really exciting. I think Heather might talk about it a bit more, but we're going to be investing a lot more in the gaming experience. I think gaming is really important to having that well-rounded desktop, and we want to make it easier for people to not have to choose between sort of using Ubuntu and dual booting and having another device. So I think how do we improve the experience for gamers is something that's really important on our roadmap going forward, and we're actually growing the desktop team to focus specifically on that aspect as well. So I think 2210 is going to have some juicy items as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, kinetic kudu.
Kinetic kudu. What's a kudu?
A kudu is a large antelope. There's a greater kudu and a lesser kudu. Oh, Jammy Jellyfish. Sorry. Sorry. Heather and Britt have only also been helping to plan and run all of this too. So, as usual, we're a little bit overextended. So, but yes, so 2204 Jammy Jellyfish, and then the upcoming interim 2210 Kinetic Kudu. Gonna have to start trying to find an origami for that. Just saying. Well, I think the next person to talk to either would be Heather about gaming or Britt about how do you work with us.
How do I work with you?
How do people watching this come to join this fun here and be paid for it?
Sure.
Okay. So everyone, this is Britt, my counterpart on the community team.
Before you start, Britt, I'm just going to turn my webcam off because I'm a little bit self-conscious being on the big screen. But I am going to hang around if anyone has any questions and or wants to chat about anything a bit more.
All right. So, over the last number of months, maybe a year, we've had a mandate from up on high, which is Mark Shuttleworth, to grow the desktop team. We want to start investing more into the ecosystems. We want to start taking leadership positions. We want to start, really spearheading a lot of initiatives. Gaming's one of them, desktop support, performance, you name it, and we're hiring. So if you're an engineer, if you're an aspiring engineer, if you want to do community stuff like Monica and I do, if you want to get involved with translations, if you want to get involved in really any aspect of the open source ecosystem, we have a lot of job openings. Just in the last, year, we've doubled the size of the company?
No. We've grown, but like maybe 20%.
20%?
Yeah.
Okay.
After
Growth is still good.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're up to like what?
Double.
Okay, fine. It was
Like
not double.
800.
800 or so-ish people now. Strike that from the record.
It's on the interwebs.
Yeah, it'll live forever. It'll live forever. But yeah, so we are growing. So if anything that I've said, if any interest, if you piqued your interest in applying for a position at Canonical, please check out our job postings on the Ubuntu website. There's lots of them, so have at it. All right.
Right. And I think the next person we're going to talk to is Heather. You ready to? Yeah, and Heather, speaking of gaming, can talk to you about, she's going to give you a little sneak peek of her talk later this afternoon.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk this afternoon. Just finished my talk right before lunch, so excited to give it. Yeah, so as Britt mentioned, we're trying to grow the team. We're actually building a dedicated engineering team to the gaming experience on Ubuntu desktop, so that's kind of a big deal. And there's a couple of QR codes at the end of my talk you can go to find some job descriptions there. But he's right. I mean, we're trying to grow the company by like some hundreds, so it's like not insubstantial. So we're getting a lot of applications. If you are really interested, also not just apply, but make a human connection with one of us, and we can chat like on a personal, informal level. I think it's always nice to have that ability when you're looking for a new role in such a climate. So yeah, I think there's a lot of exciting things, especially around gaming. And I have a bit of an announcement to give with my talk, so be sure to catch that. I think it's at 4 o'clock. Ooh, I don't remember the schedule. It's after the break. It's right after the afternoon break. Anyways, it's called Getting Good Gaming on Linux, and so yeah, really exciting. Kind of show you the work that we have done, the work that we want to do, and like what that plan looks like, and how you, as an engineer, could come and help us achieve those goals. I think that's about all I can say without spoiling it. Yeah. I personally would like to hear about some of maybe the KDE flavors.
Sure. I feel a little bit like an imposter here because I am not the one in Canonical in this panel.
Sus. Totally sus.
Well,
But you're
facts.
friend, and you're like,
Yes,
no.
we're friends, but yeah, disclosure. So yeah, they asked me if I could talk a little bit about the new things coming from KDE that are gonna be in the next Ubuntu release. So I'm gonna do my best. I am not really part of the actual Ubuntu or Ubuntu Studio teams actively. I'm of course part of the KDE community, and we talk very often, and they seem to distribute our software, which is quite the influence already, right? So let's talk about this a little bit. On 2204, I looked earlier, you're shipping 524, which is our latest release from January, I think, that we announced it first. I see that it was already available in 2110 on some extra repos that you can already get it. Well, now you can get it on the like on the LTS release of yours, because 2204 is LTS, right? So what do you get in 524? There's a whole lot of work. Well, underneath AskKDE, we've been working, for example, a lot on Orwellian integration and Orwellian story to get it up to speed with what we have in X11, which is very important, because that's where we see that there is an opportunity for actually making well, the seamless experience that we always wanted to have graphically and in terms of hardware integration. And I think that this is very important. This is not very user-facing. What you will see when you start trying it is, well, a lot of polishment in theming, for example. There's been a lot of work there from our visual design group. You have the different themes as well. Now you have accent colors, which makes it easy to just adapt it to your needs. Like right now, they're doing this weird thing where you can get an accent color from your wallpaper, and then like as soon as your wallpaper changes, everything changes color. It's kind of fancy, and it looks very cool. There's also more practical changes. There's the fingerprint support, right? So you can unlock your computer. It's handy. We've had it on other devices. It was about time you could get to have it on your desktop as well. That's pretty cool. That's for Ubuntu and Ubuntu Studio as well, which is they're both shipping Plasma, which is really nice. And I guess that the latter, maybe you can talk about Ubuntu Studio a little bit more. It's more for art creation. Beyond, well, every app will have their own feature sets. I encourage you to look at what we've been working on. Every application will have their features, and they're all very exciting. And if you miss something, or you would like to see something happening in any KDE project, including Plasma or otherwise, feel free to reach out to me or the other KDE people in the attendance, and well, tell them with a smile and please and thank you.
Want to ask a question? Sure. So I'm not super involved in KDE development, but I do know that one of the things I was really interested in was you started an initiative, what was it called, like 10-minute bugs or something like 15, that? 15-minute bugs? Can you talk about that and how that maybe has improved the experience? What's the whole idea behind 15-minute bugs?
Yeah, it's a good question. So in a community, you need to have different roles, right? What we assume that you do as a developer is that you do everything sometimes, and this doesn't scale, obviously. It's useful to have a group of people who can, for example, be attending the Bugzilla and bug triaging, and then putting together the different problems so that people can take them, be it the actual maintainers of the applications or whatever project it is, or new people coming, right? For maintainers like myself, for example, it's useful to know that there's these problems that they're important and then they've been tried and cleaned up so that I can just parachute into the bug report, fix it, and solve the problems of a number of people, and then get back to whatever I was doing. Whereas if I had to like go through the list and of everything, then I would have already spent these 15 minutes with looking at bug reports, which could have been looked at by someone else. There's also a chance of you're a newcomer, you want to fix something. You can also dive through the list of problems and see which one you care about, or you can go into the list of the curated list of 15-minute problems or bugs and then maybe if you're a newcomer, it's not going to be 15 minutes, it's going to be 25, but doesn't matter, right? Like you get your contribution out, and it's something, again, that has been already curated, and we know that it's a problem, right? Like, if you see that your bug, for example, is tried as a 15-minute bug instead of just fixed right away, doesn't mean that people don't care. It's just more reachable for everyone to work on. And
what's the best way for people they're interested in KDE, they're interested in Plasma, they want to get involved, maybe Ubuntu is their outlet for getting involved. What's the best way for them to start contributing?
I mean, it depends, because so there's this assumption of when you contribute to free software, you're going to be doing code, which is something that we keep repeating that is not really the case. So like my easy answer would be to say, just find some problem that you find and then just do the code, right? But I mean, this is already a shortcut. If what you want to do is actual code, what I tell everyone is just find something you care about, be it a big, hard problem or simple, you just need to care about enough. If it's a very hard problem, you need to care about it just more. But and then just get it solved, right? But if that's not your persona, your role, what you want to do, then you can also find ways of figuring out what you want to do in the communities. And like this is the case for KDE, but I'm sure that it applies to GNOME, it applies to Ubuntu, it applies to LibreOffice and whatever. So if you like to do translations, then obviously go to the translation team and say, hi, this is my name, and I want to play with you guys and girls. If you want to do art, well, more or less the same, show them what you know how to do and how you can work together. The different kind of areas, they will have their own different ways of doing, right? Like if you're code contributors, you will be using a lot of Git, a lot of text changes, which they feel awkward to use when you're doing drawings and things like that. And that's perfectly fine. People like artists will coordinate themselves in this, and well, that should be right.
Yep. Excellent.
was thinking, speaking of community art and theming and things, we have our special guest from KDE, but we also have a guest whose work is essential to Ubuntu, and he is the leader of one of our volunteer teams. So this is Friedrich from the Yaru team, and I think that I think I'd love for you to maybe chat about what's new on the Yaru front in 2204, and maybe a little bit about how kind of you can make this really cohesive, just organized, totally community-based team that kicks butt and makes things look gorgeous.
All right. Hi, I'm Frederick, and I'm part of the community team. Actually, I'm not a leader, but I'm just one of those guys. Yeah, and I've been invited by Canonical to attend here at the Linux App Summit to talk a bit about my work in the Flutter theming. And what was your question again?
What's new on the Yaru front?
Okay.
And how can people get involved with Yaru?
All right. Okay. What's new is actually that we have been slowly migrating away from let's say it aggressive theming of the GNOME desktop, and so we've been slowly taking out every part that could potentially ruin the nice work from the upstream developers. And but we also have a nice contributor. He's called Muk. He's from India, and he created those this color pickers for the settings app, and so you can select a color, and it's chosen for the whole desktop. Yeah, but it's actually a mix of work from the GNOME upstream developers plus the work from Mac and Marco. Yeah, that's a pretty big new thing, I think. So everything is looking like it's basically GNOME with a fresh touch of Ubuntu on it. Yeah. All right.
What can we look forward to in the next release with Yaru?
I don't know. Yeah. What's also nice is that the whole GitHub space has slowly been moving from like a SCSS thing to a like it's a really great building tooling. So we get every immediately in the moment GNOME developers change their applications, which target specific files. We get an automated pull request on GitHub, so we don't miss any new style sheet changes they make. And yeah, and tomorrow I'm gonna talk a little bit about something different. So it started with Ken introducing Flutter to the Ubuntu desktop, and the installer, the next installer is currently, it's almost done, and it's made by Canonical for the Ubuntu desktop. And I was working the past year a little bit more like on a Flutter theme, so you can have the Ubuntu visuals inside Flutter themes, inside Flutter applications on the Ubuntu desktop. And yeah, that will be tomorrow. All right, I think that was about all. Or did you ask anything else?
Just saying, so how long have you been with the Yaru team?
I've been a little bit later than Mats and Carlo. They have been. I think it all started with some thread somewhere. I don't know, on Twitter or something like that. And then Didier initialized that team. So I don't know. It's like 3, 4, 5 years or something like that. Yes, it's. Oh my God. I've been growing white hair in the meantime. It's Yeah.
So what do you think makes this community team and project work really well?
Yeah. So first of all, we are all free contributors, so we have our own daily work, and so we are probably a little bit more chill than people, which is their daily job to contribute to open source software. So it's a hobby. So we try to have as much fun as possible with it. So this is a good condition. So everyone is a little, yeah. It's like a really we got an internal Discord chat, and it's really nice guys. Most of them we've met already in person, and yeah, it's just I don't know. There's no secret or something. It's like everyone is. Well, Carlo's actually the most chill guy of all, and he was also pulling everyone who got a little bit too emotional, a little bit back to earth. He's like really chill guy, which is great. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, hold on 1 second. Yeah, Alesh just pointed out to me. For those of you that might not be kind of in the broader Ubuntu community, maybe Ubuntu's not what you think about. Yaru, if you didn't know, is the GTK theme. The branding colors. We use orange. We use some aubergines, browns. Are we still using aubergine? I thought we got rid of aubergine.
It's not anymore.
It's just orange now. Yeah.
In the color picker.
It's in the color picker, but it's what makes the Ubuntu GTK desktop unique amongst the other amazing sea of Ubuntu GTK desktops out there. So yeah. So if you weren't familiar, that is what we've been talking about. So.
Yeah. And did you have a question for Alish or?
I was going to ask maybe if Till wanted to talk about.
Yes.
He's
I
got
want
a
to.
microphone already.
Yes, I have already the microphone.
Talk
Yes.
about printing?
Yes, I'm Till Kampeter, and many of you perhaps know me. I'm the leader of the Open Printing project, and my baby will get 21 years old this year. So I'm longer with it. Yeah, I founded it before Ubuntu was founded. And so for a long time, I'm the benevolent dictator who makes printing just work. I'm closely together working with Michael Sweet, the author of Cups. And I have every year Google Summer of Code students, now contributors, who are contributing a lot to the project, and many stay, and so I'm getting my community and my team. And for example, some who have stayed, they have designed the website, the Open Printing website, how you see it currently, and written most of the content. Naturally, the monthly news posts are mine, but most of the rest of the text is from them. And for Ubuntu, I'm packaging. I'm responsible for also for Ubuntu their printing is just working. And so I'm packaging the cups and the printer drivers and so on. And I've recently snapped cups. And now it's completely integrated into Snap and Snapd, so that when you are creating snaps, one can securely print without any fear that the application can break cups, can delete queues, and so this is the news. This new cups interface for Snapd I've launched Monday this week, and I'm currently also managing a project of a new printer setup tool for the GNOME Control Center. I'm not a GNOME, I'm not coding on it. I'm managing it, I'm mentoring students for it and coordinating with the Ubuntu desktop and Ubuntu design team that it all gets upstream, because we have to change it, because in printing we have a new architecture, and tomorrow at 15:35, I will give my talk and introduce the new architecture and tell what application developers have to know about it, and also a little bit about distribution independent packaging, because this is also important also for printer drivers. With a new format of printer applications, it is possible to do distribution independent packaging of printer drivers. And so for the future of Ubuntu, I want to get the cap snap as soon as possible to be the default. When all works really, really, really well, our new kinetic kudu will have it already, otherwise it will be the next one, the 23.04, so that we have the new cap snap as the caps, as our default caps, and this will be also the dress rehearsal for the new architecture, which I will hope will be completely in the next LTS, in the 24.04. Yes, and one thing of the 22.04, I've only done maintenance and bug fixes. I've worked much more upstream this time. But to say something about it, I love the screenshot tool, the new screenshot tool. I frequently used it already.
I just wanted to say that there's... If you want to know more about printing, Till and I, a few months ago, did we did a live stream to YouTube that's still up there, all about printing. So I worked with Till to be like, okay, tell it to me like I'm 5. How does printing protocol work? So we can identify this and we can draw some pictures to like show folks the new architecture. So I would also recommend checking that out if you want to know kind of how printing works under the hood. Like together, we worked on that quite a bit, and I think it helps. Like, I always thought of printing as like a dark art. Like, so.
And Heather, she has drawn excellent slides about it. I have given her a really nice tutorial, a really nice lecture about printing. It was for her like her professor in math methods for physicists, and she loved it. And we made a great Indaba. It was, I think, the 4th Indaba of the whole series. I think it was the August last year. You find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Heather, for that.
I'd just like to shout out Till, Dr. Ken Peter. He started this before Ubuntu was even a blip in anyone's mind's eye, realistically. And he's a titan. And for those of you that watched the Linus Tech Tips Gaming Linux Challenge video series recently, could have gone better. Went pretty well. But the one thing that uniformly worked across the board in that challenge, and the one thing they pointed out as being like, it worked better than Mac, worked better than Windows, worked better than anything, was printing. And that is absolutely Till. He did it.
Yes, and I want to tell something for all of you of said Windows users. We in the desktop team have the sub-team Enterprise Desktop, and they are working on WSL. And what they do now is they make WSL systemd based, and this is the requirement that in systemd based distro you can install snapd, and once you have installed snapd, you can install printer applications, and finally you can print under Windows with all these old printers which Microsoft has given up on. And so we may. Our enterprise desktop team makes Windows just work.
Can I say one more thing? So one thing, Neil mentioned how like the workspaces changed, and I was one of those people that was just ready to riot. But a week later, I'd totally forgotten about it, and now I love it.
Yep. All right. Yeah, a few questions.
I think we have time for maybe one question.
We get
Maybe two.
2 questions?
Any questions?
Anyone out there?
Bueller? Throwing out.
We did such a good job. Questions.
Well, we wanted. Oh, we've got one.
Oh, yeah, Neil. And then I got to say one thing before we finish.
I hear on Saturday night there's a release party coming up. Would you like to talk a little bit about that, Rick?
Funny you should ask. So yeah, we are throwing a party tomorrow. It's gonna be great. So we've been planning this for the last 2 weeks. We're so excited for it. It's gonna be here. It's gonna be out on the terrace. Everyone is invited. If you have family here, they're invited too. Bring your friends. Make some friends. Bring them too. We're gonna have some cake. We're gonna have an assortment of cakes actually. We're gonna have food, pizza, focaccia, snacks. Prosecco, we're getting a keg, so we'll have a full keg. And that will prepare you then for when the DJ shows up. And you can, we'll just make, it'll be great.
Would there be non-alcoholic drinks as well?
There will be non-alcoholic drinks as well. Yes, the lovely bar that we have on site, I think they're only do sparkling water, but Monica and I have plans to go out and make sure that we're providing adequate beverage for anyone who's not of the drinking type. So we have a question in the far back, if we can run that. Is there going to be any cake? Copious amounts of cake. Just so much cake.
Are you sure there's going to be cake?
Like 600 euros worth of cake.
Cake. Jellyfish cake.
The cake is not a lie.
Not a lie.
Not a lie. It's real.
Okay, thanks to the panel. You were great. Do the dance.